In a city known for Starbucks, its fans are more caffeinated than most. Its stadium, a sound garden louder than any rock concert. As Seattle holds a parade to celebrate the Seahawks Super Bowl victory today, we examine the role of the 12th man.
And then we have the best fans, in the National Football League, the best fans in the world, doesn't matter what sport. And to have that backing us home or away in MetLife Stadium, it was a great scene last night.
12th man, we did it. We brought the Super Bowl back, man. I think Seattle deserves this more than any city, and they've been faithful since the beginning. So, first Super Bowl, Seattle, we brought it.
And now, sitting in for Bob Lee, Steve Weissman.
In a place that brought us nirvana, the people have now reached that state of happiness by supporting their football team with anything but that type of peace. Come as you are, which in this case is both loud and proud. Seahawks fans call themselves the 12th man, a concept that originated at Texas A&M. Now the franchise pays for the right to use that name. Their opponents pay for the ebullient energy it brings. This group of raucous rabble-rousers delivered decibels just short of eardrum rupture. They once even caused a minor earthquake. And their reward? The spoils of victory, a Super Bowl championship parade. Police are saying about 700,000 people attended this parade. That's more than the city's population. The 2-mile route started downtown near the Space Needle. And in true 12th man fashion, fans observed a moment of loudness. The parade heading to CenturyLink Field, where a ceremony will mark the team's first Lombardi trophy in nearly 40 seasons. And the team very appreciative of its fans.
They own this world championship. It's their world championship. They get to live it. They get to have fun with it. They get to enjoy the heck out of it and take pride in it and all that. But they own it, and it's theirs. And that's the greatest gift that we're involved with, and it's really the thing I take the most pride in.
Oh, this is special, and the 12s deserve it. I mean, 2006, that one was stolen from them. They lost to SuperSonics, so this city needed something special. And here we are, 2014, able to call ourselves world champions.
It's a great feeling, those fans out there deserve it. They've been with us through the ups and downs, and they made it tough for the opponents to come to CenturyLink and play us. So, this one goes out for them.
And they've been faithful since the beginning. So, first Super Bowl, Seattle, we brought it.
We encourage your input with today's Twitter question. What impact did the 12th man have on the Seahawks championship? Use the hashtag 12th man for your responses, and we will air the best ones at the end of the show. Now, for more on this topic, we welcome our panel of guests. ESPN NFL insider and former Seattle Seahawks beat reporter John Clayton joins us from his hometown, Seattle. NBA analyst and former Seattle SuperSonics head coach P.J. Carlesimo. Jason Reid, the director of Sonicsgate, a documentary that chronicles the rise and fall of the Seattle SuperSonics franchise. And we also welcome Dale Carlson, a Seahawks season ticket holder since 1991. We'll start with you, Dale, because, well, we brought you away from the parade. Thank you for getting away from the parade and joining us here on OTL. They're saying 700,000 people. What was the parade like?
Pretty incredible. I seen a little bit there on the TV before I came into here studio here, and it looked pretty incredible.
What was it like actually down there? You were at the parade, correct?
I didn't make it down there. The traffic was too much to go down there, so I just came over to your studio, and I was watching some of it at the local Red Robin here to see what was going on. Got to get a little glimpse of that. Now, John, you've covered this team. You lived in the city. How do these fans compare to other fans in the NFL?
I've never seen anything like it. As everybody knows, I grew up in Pittsburgh and covered the Steelers since their Super Bowl years. They had great fans. These fans are louder. I mean, the fact that they can have home games and create earthquakes anytime there's a big play. Anytime you want to try to set a record for crowd noise, it can be set in CenturyLink Field. And now the scary part about all this, in the 13th biggest city, at least for television in the country, these fans are now starting to mobilize. They're getting on the road. They travel well. They outshouted everybody in the Denver Bronco area as far as all they were able to do at the Super Bowl. And so now what you have is mobile fans, loud at home, hitting the road. And really, I think it's right now the best fan base, I think you can say, in sports.
PJ, you're familiar with this fan base. You coached in Seattle. What are they like?
The fans are fantastic, always have been. Unfortunately, most of the years I coached there, I was sitting on the wrong bench, and you paid the price in Key Arena. But the one year we were there, the last year, the team played in Seattle, and even though we were a young team, Kevin Durant got Rookie of the Year, and still the support was there. And a day doesn't go by. I cannot walk in the supermarket. I can't go anywhere where somebody doesn't say, when are we getting the team back? How did that ever happen? So the fan support is still there, and it's only a matter of time before they get an NBA franchise back in that great city.
Jason, I know you're trying to get that franchise back with the documentary Sonicsgate. I noticed you're wearing the Seahawks ball cap, but then the Make It Rain shirt with, of course, Sean Kemp. Does the win in the Super Bowl make up for the loss of the Seahawks? Or, excuse me, the SuperSonics?
I mean, you know, the Super Bowl victory is fantastic. We love it. The way that the Sonics were ripped away from the city was so tragic. You know, I don't know that it makes up for it, but it certainly helps this city come together around our sports team, around the Seahawks, and have this optimism that has been lacking from this city for a long time. You know, the Sonics were the last team to win a championship, and that was in 1979 when I was 1 year old. And we've had losing Mariners franchises, Seahawks franchises, the Sonics left. And so we were really hurting as a sports franchise and hungry for this. And I think it's just an amazing thing for our city. And I think it's going to be motivation for the NBA to get back into this market. When we have the best sports fans in the world, I think PJ's right. It's only a matter of time before the team comes back.
Dale, you're one of those fans. You're wearing the 12 jersey. What does the 12th man mean to you?
Oh, it means everything. Like I said, I've been season ticket holder since '91, and prior to that, we'd go to the games, you know, and go down. But before that, I couldn't buy them because it was too hard, so we just go down there and get them from the scalpers. But I've been down here in Washington since '84 and been a Seahawks fan ever since. Grew up in a small little village in Alaska and dreamed about going to an NFL game. And when I first walked into that kingdom, that first game was just unreal, and I was a fan from there on.
Who do fans in Alaska cheer for? Is it because Seattle's the closest NFL franchise, mostly Seahawks?
Oh, yeah, it's mostly Seahawks. You got some other fans, of course, when the younger kids see the winning teams into the playoffs and the Super Bowls. But pretty much right now, the last few years, it's everywhere you go, it's Seahawk fans. I mean, you know, people are, they're Seahawk fans for sure.
John, what kind of impact do you think that has, the fact that the states nearby, Washington, don't have their own professional football teams?
Well, I think what it does now is it creates a destination point for everybody to start coming down and now even trying to enjoy the city, because I think you can see not only just in the standpoint of the Seahawks, I mean, the other franchises are starting to win too. University of Washington's getting better as far as what they have on the football team. You know, the Mariners, still as frustrating as it's been, look like they have a promising young team now that they got Robinson Cano with all the young players. And so, you know, the problem that anybody has in Alaska and Canada, Vancouver, is now trying to get tickets because, you know, this is such a popular team right now, the Seahawks, and trying to be able to get the tickets. That's going to be the toughest thing. But I think everybody around the area, particularly north or south, really enjoying this.
And Dale, you were at the game. What type of impact did the fans have at the actual Super Bowl? Oh, it was incredible. I mean, as you know, you've seen the first play of the game. I mean, Manning wasn't even ready for the snap. It was the crowd noise. I mean, I believe it. I was there. I mean, it was incredible. And the 12s were just screaming and hollering and jumping up all over. Before the game started, they had the Denver fans, they had the Seahawks. They were comparing the two, and I mean, it was an incredible difference between the Denvers and the Seahawks as they were trying to challenge to see who the loudest was. Yeah, I was in New York City for a few days, could see a lot more Seahawks fans than Broncos fans throughout the city. Jason, how do you think this swell of support now and enthusiasm for the Seattle Seahawks will help to get an NBA franchise back to your city?
Well, I think it's multiple things. I think locally it provides that last bit of motivation that it's going to take to get this arena deal done. We're literally a month or two away from them doing the final approval. And once that happens, it's just a guarantee. All we need to build the arena and put shovels in the ground is a guarantee of an NBA team from the NBA. And so if we get that, all of a sudden we're building a $500 million arena. And so I think also it shows nationally that Seattle really does have the best sports fans in the world. And just because the Sonics were stolen away, you know, almost 6 years ago now, we still are loud and proud as Sonics fans and fighting, you know, tens of thousands of people fighting to get the team back. And so I think it sends a strong message to Adam Silver, the new commissioner, that they need to get into this market and they need to get here quick and capitalize on just the momentum of the fans in this region.
PJ, you were the coach for the Sonics when they left for Oklahoma City. What happened? What was that like?
Well, it was a horrible year. I mean, we moved there, my family moved there, we still live there, and we thought we'd be there for minimum 3 years. There was still 3 years left on the lease. And then it went to, kind of surprisingly, it went to a lawsuit. And the night before the judge was going to make her decision, the team settled. The team and the city, I think both were concerned about what the decision was going to be. Neither one was confident enough to wait for the judge's decision. And all of a sudden, we get a phone call in July. The team had already left for Summer League. And Sam Presti, the general manager, said, hey, we're only going to Summer League for 2 days. We got to get to Oklahoma City and find a practice facility. So it was unbelievable. And I think it was so disappointing, but it was so different than what happened in Sacramento. I mean, last year, you know, these guys will tell you, a couple months ago, it looked like it was a done deal. Everybody thought Sacramento was coming over there. And Kevin Johnson just did an unbelievable job rallying the people and getting political support in Sacramento. Everybody thought that team was going to move and the Maloofs were going to sell the team. And it just didn't happen. But you know, I agree with Jason. There's no way. The league wants a team in Seattle very badly. It's a great market. They've supported the franchise for so long. They've won an NBA championship already. They don't want it the way that was going to happen, where they get one from another team. So whether it's an expansion or whether another team does move, you don't want the same thing to happen and get a team to Seattle by, you know, another city losing it. But somehow they need a team back in Seattle. The people in Seattle deserve it. The league needs it. And John and you know, the five of us would like to see it selfishly. We're all there, and we want to be able to go to NBA games in our city.
John, what was that experience like for you? Obviously, you cover the NFL beat, but you're a Seattle guy now since '86.
Well, you got to understand, too, that, you know, this was the greatest weekend in Seattle sports. Walter Jones, first ballot Hall of Fame on Saturday. Seahawks get the Super Bowl, and not mentioned was the retirement of David Stern. People were celebrating that on Saturday night in Seattle because Stern was involved in allowing this franchise to go. And understand that there's been a fight all through the time I've been here just to keep franchises here. I was standing right in front of the bus and all the things that were being taken out of the Seahawks facility when Ken Behring tried to move them to Los Angeles. The baseball team almost went to Tampa Bay. But they have such loyal fans, they fight all the way. The fight was taken away from them as far as the Sonics leaving, and now it's no accident. I think Adam Silver's on the West Coast right now, touring around. Wouldn't be surprised if he stops here in Seattle just to try to broker something now that David Stern is gone.
Jason, I saw you smiling and nodding your head when John was saying the cheering of David Stern's retirement. Why?
Yeah, I mean, David Stern, you know, treated this city so poorly for so many years and really turned his back on this community, the 41 rich years of history, and allowed the team to move. And has been, you know, overly kind of rude to this region. And Adam Silver seems nothing but responsive and open to Steve Ballmer and Chris Hansen. So I really think that Adam Silver is going to get something done. I think this will be a great stamp of his commissionership. And I just think it's a matter of time before he realizes that this needs to get done. And we were celebrating. I was actually in New York as well for the Super Bowl, and we were toasting at midnight when David Stern was gone, and it was a really joyous moment. Easily the greatest weekend of in Seattle sports history, no doubt.
PJ, what do you make of the fact that Seattle fans cheering the retirement of David Stern?
I think it's a little misplaced, to be honest with you. I think David Stern got a bad rap at the end. You know, whatever happened at the end. I remember being there many years ago, coaching another team, and being there when they had a referendum. And, you know, John referenced it. The Mariners almost left, the Seahawks almost left, and both times it was kind of 12th-minute deals where they rallied him. They made a mistake when they remodeled Key. They didn't do what they needed to do to make it into an NBA quality facility, and they were told that by the league way back then. And then between ownership moves and things that happen, and all of a sudden, you know, if you talk to some people, Clay Bennett's the villain. You talk to other people. David is the villain. The other David is the villain, Schultz. You know, I think David got more blame and for the team leaving than he deserves. I think the city could have fought harder. By the city, I mean the politics and the people there. It was too late when a lot of this stuff was done. You know, if we'd fought for it as hard as Sacramento fought for it, we wouldn't have lost the team.
Dale, you've been.
Well, I think there are a lot of people to blame. You know.
Exactly. Unfortunately, there's not a short list of people to blame. I think sometimes David gets too much credit, or too much blame, if you will.
Yeah, no, I mean, we blame Howard Schultz, we blame the mayor, Greg Nichols, the city council, the state legislature.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
there
the
were
state
a lot of villains
legislature
that
years
David
ago.
was complicit in that.
Yeah.
Plenty of blame to go around for the loss of the SuperSonics, but plenty of cheer to go around for the Seahawks. And Dale, you have a story. You've been putting up this 21-foot pole with the flag of the 12th man for a little while now, and you actually had to sue to be able to keep this flag up. What happened there?
I'd been flying the flag, the 12th man flag, for 3 years prior to getting the letter last January about removing the flag and flagpole. There was a new management company came in, and they had a new homeowners board, but I had been flying the flag for 3 years without anybody saying anything to me, and they put the new board in, and I got a letter back in last year, January, when the Seahawks were in their playoff run. Prior to that, I was just flying the flag on game days, and when they went into playoffs, I was flying it, every day. I got the letter saying they were going to fine me like $150 a day. So I told my wife, and she said, just take the flag down. And I took the flag down, and that's when the Seahawks lost to Atlanta Falcons. And then last fall, when the new season started, I put my flagpole back up in September, flew the flag, and of course, a couple of weeks later, I get a letter again from the Homeowners Association, and that's when a local attorney here in Washington, Eric Lindell, said he would represent me for nothing to resolve this, and got some letters from the Homeowners Association. And they kept muddling around. First it was the height of the flagpole. It was where the location was. I didn't get permission to fly the flag. And so finally I just got their new rules from them. And then amidst of all this going on, they have since changed the rules and regulations now of the Homeowners Association while this was all going on. So here back on January 1st of this year, I was flying my flag. I got a new flag at the last home game from the Seahawks. One of the board members came up to my house and yelling at me on New Year's Day to remove my flag, and I said I was in compliance, and I haven't heard nothing from them since. They said they were going to fine me, but now you walk around my neighborhood and there's 12th man flags everywhere. Even the vice president of the Homeowners Association, who was giving me all the BS about it, he's even got one flying, so I wonder what he thinks now.
You started a fashionable trend, Dale. Everybody wants to be a part of a winner now, so I don't think you're going to get any junk about it now. John, you're an NFL insider for us here. You could live anywhere. You've got your glow point. You could be in San Juan. Why did you choose to stay in Seattle?
It's a great place to live. I remember 1998 when I was offered the full-time job, what was presented to me and said, okay, we've got to tell you this legally. It's like, we will move you anywhere in the country you want to move one time, but we already know the answer. I said, yeah, next question. This place is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the people are fantastic. I mean, it's like the same people I grew up with in Pittsburgh. They welcome you, they take care of you, and now you see the area just continuing to grow and grow, and now the sports franchises are becoming very much, I think, like you're seeing what I saw in Pittsburgh when I was growing up. And so you're not going to be able to pull me away from here. Just keep the glow point on.
PJ, you've coached in a lot of different areas. How does Seattle compare to those?
We love it. It's, people ask me now, they're surprised I'm commuting back here to Bristol or traveling around doing games. And everybody goes, why do you live in Seattle? I said, well, because I want to live with my wife and kids, and they're not leaving Seattle. So we love it. We hit a great neighborhood, a fantastic school. Kids skip school today to go down to the, I believe, to go down to the parade. I'm snowed in here in Bristol. I'm happy to be here, but I wish George Karl had made it here. Would have made a better panel, and I'd have been back in Seattle and able to go to the parade myself.
Jason, John brought up the point earlier that Seattle's always had to fight to keep their professional franchises. Why do you think that is?
It just was circumstance, I mean, there's the public subsidies of arenas, and we needed to get a better arena than the Kingdome, at least according to all parties. We needed to build, a new baseball stadium, and then Key Arena became obsolete because they didn't do a good enough job back in '96 when they renovated it. And so there's always been this threat because of the arenas in this city. And now we have this opportunity with Chris Hansen and Steve Ballmer coming forth with one of the greatest arena proposals that we've ever seen, and an opportunity to get an NHL and NBA ready arena and really just bring it home. Let's get NBA, NHL, and it really will be the greatest city in the world. The streets were nuts. I fought my way all the way here through the 700,000 people, and I've just never seen anything like this in this city. And I'm just so proud to be from Seattle. I'm so proud of the 12th man and the impact that we all had at the Super Bowl and we all had at home. And it's an amazing place to be right now. And I couldn't be happier. Now just give us the NBA team back. Give us the Sonics back. Come on, Adam Silver. Get it done.
Jason, your documentary, Sonicsgate, will premiere on ESPN Classic Friday, March 14th, 9 o'clock Eastern. John, what do you think that impact will have on getting a team back to Seattle for the NBA?
I think the impact is going to be there because it's a fantastic production that he put together. Jason did a remarkable job, but also I think what you can see, this is a remarkable area too. You know, not talked about in this conversation is the growth of the Sounders. The Sounders have become one of the greatest franchises as far as expansion in the history of sports. And just look at the fan base and how they march through the streets to go to the stadium for the games. You know, you have that fan base. You have the fan base of the Seahawks, which is growing. You have basketball. All these things are coming together at the right time. Also, with more people coming into this area, I think it's the right time for the NBA to come back. Whether it's expansion or a moving of the franchise, I think it'll happen.
Well, somebody even named their child Cindy Lee, 12th man. We'll leave it there. Dale, Jason, PJ, and John, really appreciate your time today on Outside the Lines.
Outside the Lines.
More than any city, and they've been faithful since the beginning. So, first Super Bowl, Seattle, we brought it.
Now, sitting in for Bob Lee, Steve Weissman.
In a place that brought us nirvana, the people have now reached that state of happiness by supporting their football team with anything but that type of peace. Come as you are, which in this case is both loud and proud. Seahawks fans call themselves the 12th man, a concept that originated at Texas A&M. Now the franchise pays for the right to use that name. Their opponents pay for the ebullient energy it brings. This group of raucous rabble-rousers and former Seattle Seahawks beat reporter John Clayton joins us from his hometown, Seattle. NBA analyst and former Seattle SuperSonics head coach PJ Carlesimo. Jason Reid, the director of Sonicsgate, a documentary that chronicles the rise and fall of the Seattle SuperSonics franchise. And we also welcome Dale Carlson, a Seahawks season ticket holder since 1991. We'll start with you, Dale, because well, we brought you away from the parade. Thank you for getting away from the parade and joining us here on OTL. They're saying 700,000 people. What was the parade like?
Pretty incredible. I've seen a little bit there on the TV before I came into your studio here, and it looked pretty incredible.
What was it like actually down there? You were at the parade, correct?
I didn't.
The thing I take the most pride in.
Oh, this is special, and the 12s deserve it. I mean, 2006, that one was stolen from them. They lost the SuperSonics, so this city needed something special. And here we are, 2014, able to call ourselves world champions.
It's a great feeling, you know. Those fans out there deserve it, you know. They've been with us through the ups and downs, you know, and they made it tough for the opponents to come to CenturyLink and play us. So, you know, this one goes out for them.
And they've been faithful since the beginning. So, first Super Bowl, Seattle, we brought it.
We encourage your input with today's Twitter question. What impact did the 12th man have on the Seahawks championship? Use the hashtag 12th man for your responses, and we will air the best ones at the end of the show. Now, for more on this topic, we welcome our panel of guests. ESPN NFL insiders delivered decibels just short of eardrum rupture. They once even caused a minor earthquake. And their reward? The spoils of victory, a Super Bowl championship parade. Police are saying about 700,000 people attended this parade. That's more than the city's population. The 2-mile route started downtown near the Space Needle, and in true 12th man fashion, fans observed a moment of loudness. The parade heading to CenturyLink Field, where a ceremony will mark the team's first Lombardi trophy in nearly 40 seasons. And the team very appreciative of its fans.
They own this world championship. It's their world championship. They get to live it. They get to have fun with it. They get to enjoy the heck out of it and take pride in it and all that. But they own it, and it's theirs. And that's the greatest gift that we're involved with, and it's really...
In a city known for Starbucks, its fans are more caffeinated than most. Its stadium, a sound garden louder than any rock concert. As Seattle holds a parade to celebrate the Seahawks Super Bowl victory today, we examine the role of the 12th man.
And then we have the best fans, you know, in the National Football League, the best fans in the world, doesn't matter what sport. And to have that backing us home or away in MetLife Stadium, it was a great scene last night.
12th man, we did it. We brought the Super Bowl back, man. I think Seattle deserves this.